Welcome to the Crimson Engine. My name is Rubidium. Today we are talking about a very different type of camera. And by different, I mean, unlike anything else I've ever shot with. This is the Insta360 ONE X. This is the camera body itself. It has two 180-degree lenses, one on each side of the body of the camera, and together they give you a 360-degree field of view. It captures 5.7K at 30 frames a second, 50 frames a second at 4K, and 100 frames a second at 3K. It's not just different in the way that it's designed or the way that it shoots, but it has a whole bunch of modes and functionality in the camera that is, kind of a big step forward as far as the way you capture, the way you shoot, what's possible with a camera. The first thing that I've used with it is a thing called flow state. So it measures it has a gyroscope inside. It measures the turning around, the moving up and down, and the jitters of it as you're filming. And it's able to use that data to cancel out motion of the camera. So you get and because it's 360 degrees, there's no limit to how much it can move the image for stabilization. So you can get run like crazy, move this thing in all kinds of ways and get a perfectly smooth image as a result. It also does HDR video, where it oscillates between two different ISOs to capture both the highlights and the shadows of an image. This only works if the camera is standing still because it has to use a longer exposure for the shadows, but you end up with 360-degree video that's way better than anything you could shoot on a GoPro. Action cameras are infamous for only giving a good image at midday on a bright day close to the equator. Most people are going to use it inside or around evening, or you just want to be able to have a camera that you're using in all sort of scenarios, not just super bright light. And the HDR feature gives you the opportunity to get a 360-degree view of what you're shooting even when it's not brightly lit. A third feature this camera has is called natural view, which when I first saw it, I didn't really believe it, but it's kind of crazy. You can choose your focal point with the app on your phone. And I have to say, the way they keep this very small is by having a lot of the kind of settings and post-production on a cell phone. It is really easy to connect. It does it automatically. It joins its own Wi-Fi network. And you're able to see what you're shooting on your phone no matter how you manipulate the camera, because it's 360 degrees. You can move the camera around and still see the same point of view. Kind of uncanny. There are a whole bunch of interesting other features with this. We tried a bullet time, sort of Mythbusters intro shot, where you swing this around your head and it uses that same flow state to keep your perspective centered. We also tried it on a C-stand arm, and the result was pretty good. Nothing that's good enough quality to cut into, say, C200 footage, but really interesting to experiment with to get new types of shots. What I got this camera for was BTS. It comes with this really fantastic expanding selfie stick and mini tripod. So you can basically expand this thing, put it in the corner of a room, do your shoot, and come away with a 360-degree view of the area that you shot in. I used it on the ceiling to show how I set up my two-camera YouTube videos. I used it on top of a Steadicam to give an idea of what the Steadicam operator was doing, and it outputs these sort of 360 videos, which are like 5.7K surround videos into Premiere that you can then pick your perspective, you can pick your zoom, you can even pan in post and really set up your shot as you want it, even though you really didn't have to think about that while you were shooting. You just make sure there's a micro SD card in the camera, make sure it's charged, and then bring it to set, and you're able to get this, almost unlimitedly flexible shot that you can use in post to show what it is that you did. And as a BTS channel, I found it absolutely invaluable. Very cool camera to check out. A bit of a learning curve, maybe just because there are so many ways to use a 360 camera, and we're all still kind of learning out what works best, and Insta360 is like throwing all these functions at you. There's even a way you can put this in a football and throw it across and get kind of like a crazy traveling bullet time perspective. But I definitely think it's worthwhile, and if you want to, get a new camera to experiment with and get a whole bunch different kind of footage, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Links to these are in the description. Leave your questions in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys think of the BTS I shoot on this going forward, and I will see you next time.